Thinking of taking an expedition cruise on Silversea? Let's talk about it. Hey, this is Jack with Luxury Cruise Tips. If you're thinking of taking an expedition cruise on Silversea Silver Wind, I took a cruise to Norway and Finland, and it was amazing. So let's talk about what you can expect, my top tips on sailing on the Silver Wind. The first thing is the staterooms. So if you've sailed on Silversea before, the staterooms are pretty similar. The overall ship was refurbed about 2 or 3 years ago. It holds about 250 to 260 people for an expedition cruise. They reinforced the hull for ice. So the cabins are approximately 295 square feet, including the balcony. So again, if you've been on one of the classic Silversea ships, it'll feel pretty similar. They're slightly smaller, but for an expedition cruise, they were really large, set up nicely, and had great amenities. Now, as you know with Silversea, you get a butler. Everybody gets a butler. So it's one of the few, if only, expedition ship I know of that you get a butler. So that's a real reason, I think, to take a Silversea expedition cruise. So let's talk about some of the other reasons. The staff. Again, butler being staff. I would say overall the staff on Silversea, specifically with this expedition cruise, because it's a smaller ship and you're constantly seeing the same people, is amazing. No matter what you ask of anybody for help, they're there for you, whether it's in the photography lab that you want someone to help or one of the expedition staff. They're really helpful and really care about your desires and dreams on what you want to get out of this cruise. So I would say the staff is truly a reason why you want to take a Silversea expedition cruise. The other thing is food. So you have multiple options. So you have typically 4 restaurants on the Silver Wind. So you have the main restaurant, called the restaurant, you have La Terrazza, which is Italian, and you have La Dame. So to me, I think that as the food changes in the restaurant pretty much every day, the Italian stays relatively the same, but we found times that we wanted something a little bit different, and as long as you asked a day in advance, as an example, they didn't have chicken parmesan, and some people we met wanted chicken parmesan. We asked the server, and the next day we had chicken parmesan. So I'd say, I think that from an expedition standpoint, Silversea truly is some of the best food afloat. Now remember caviar. No difference between the expedition and classic. If you want caviar with every meal, boom, you have it. If you want caviar in your stateroom, just ask your butler. The other thing that's a really nice touch with Silversea, and it continues on the expedition, we were in the dining room. Again, alcohol was included. We commented about that we truly liked one of the wines, the included wine. We got back to our stateroom, there were 2 bottles of the wine in our stateroom. So I think it's those special touches that make the cruise memorable for you from a culinary perspective as well. Let's talk about excursions. So the excursions are included. I would say that there may be a couple excursions. We were on for 2 weeks. There may have been a few excursions that were extra cost, but I would say the majority of excursions were included. You had great options. So every day you had excursions that may be touring, or they may have been hiking, they may have been some bike riding, they may have been kayaking. But the nice thing with all the excursions is that you were learning something on most of them. So if you were going hiking, you were sent with a guide. If you were going biking, again with a guide. If you were going to go bird watching, they had an ornithologist. So I would say one of the highlights of the trip is that the excursions, I'd say the majority of them are included, and they're of great quality and something you would have had to pay for if they weren't included if you were with another cruise line. Now, one of the things that makes the excursions great is the expedition team. We were told that there were over 45 people that were part of the expedition team, which is amazing considering the ship holds 250 and on our sailing there were about 150. So the expedition team, we had people that were the Zodiac drivers, you had people that were the kayak crew, and these people were from all over the world and very passionate and knowledgeable of what they were doing. When you were hiking, you picked up local guides, plus you had the guides from the ship. You also had a photographer with you from the ship. And then each evening you would meet to go over what you saw that day, and you would look at the imagery and the images, and they were just beautiful, as well as talk about what was going to happen the next day. And it was pretty neat because they actually had an area where they would show you and give you the backgrounds of all the different expedition team members that were on the ship. And I think having those people, the team members of the expedition, really immersed you in the places you were at and the places you were going and the insights you were getting that truly made the cruise a lifetime experience. So I would say that having that expedition team with the included excursions truly makes the Silversea Silver Wind trip memorable. Now, I mentioned the Zodiacs. Now, we hear about wet landings. So I know in a lot of the expeditions they have wet landings. So the key with the wet landings is you have to be physically able to do it. I would say the Silversea staff did an amazing job with people that had limited ability to do it. They helped them on and off, and truly, I mean, what a wet landing is you're getting on a Zodiac, you have your vest on, your rain suit, your water suit, whatever it is, and you're getting off the Silver Wind through the side of the ship and getting on the Zodiac and then being taken someplace. And in some cases, you had a pier to get off on or a little dock. Other places, they pulled up on a beach and they made a makeshift step and you got off and got wet. But it was fun because we're riding out on the Zodiac. So, I mean, to some people, they were concerned. I think it made the trip, but they really took good care of you in doing it. And if the captain felt as though the weather wasn't good, they just stopped the operations because safety was of their utmost importance. People are always concerned with Silversea about the dress code. Nice thing on the expedition cruises, the formal dress code is out the window. So again, if you want to eat in jeans in the evening, again, fine. The dress code is tremendously relaxed. They did have a couple formal nights, but very few people were in suits, a couple people had sports jackets. But if you're used to the classic Silversea with the casual, the informal, and formal, and sports jackets and ties, throw that out on the expedition. It's very laid back. Not that you're coming to dinner in shorts, but if you want to come to dinner in a set of jeans or some slacks without a sports jacket, that's fine. So I think overall, my top reasons you should try a Silversea expedition cruise specific on the Silver Wind would be the food's amazing, the service is amazing, the expedition team is amazing, the excursions. It truly is an overall great experience. So feel free to try Silversea Expedition and Silversea Silver Wind anytime you can. This is Jack with Luxury Cruise Tips. Hopefully this information is helpful.